The personal project was introduced to us in September, and first, of course, we had to pick what we will do for our personal project. And my idea came quite early. It was mid-September where my idea was finished. My idea was writing texts in rhymes, so it's more fun, and composing and writing down music using two programs, which are Guitar Pro 5 and Fruity Loops 10. The goal was to improve my skills in writing texts and writing down music using the programs as much as I could. And so that was the idea: write as many as you can when you can. And of course the personal project, our personal project, has to interact with two areas of interaction. And one of them is approaches to learning, which is finding out how we learn best, learning how to learn. And the second one is human ingenuity, which is about the creating process and the impact it will have, as in what are the consequences and why do we create. And those were the two I picked. So later on there was the plan of action. I had to plan out what I would do, but my plan was obvious to me. It was just create as much as I could, and I followed that plan till the end of the first semester. And second semester I concentrated more on the report, and I also concentrated on the process journal and other things we were doing connected with personal project. I was asked the question, how engaged was I during the whole year concerning the project? I would say I was thinking about it constantly, as in every month I did work concerning the report or the journal or the product. And so I didn't really stop thinking about it and thinking of ways to improve it and change it. There were obstacles concerning writing, as in not really easy to write when you don't really have something to write about. So when I had something to write about, I did it. And I tried some different things. For example, write about stuff I made up, or I have one piece I did as a joke, as in having a bit of fun. If I had to answer the question, what did I learn about myself? It would probably be that I improved the music part, working with the programs and remembering music more. Now it's easier to remember what I thought. And also I would like to continue this, even though the year has ended. I would still like to continue this next year and the year after, and so on and so on. And concerning the writing, I ended up thinking that writing is fun, but I won't really be doing that much and that often as I did this year.
My personal project is a nature-dedicated magazine, which is called Our Real Heroes. what I wanted to do in the beginning was like, because at this school here are a lot of NATO children, so I thought it would be interesting to do something about the NATO. So I chose a magazine because you can put a lot of information inside, pictures, and that's what I wanted to do. And of course I wanted to have information about the NATO, Army, Marine, Air Force, GFTC of course, because it's here at Bydgoszcz, and ISOB. And interviews with soldiers was for me really important, because not everyone knows a lot what soldiers are doing and everything, and I wanted to find out more, like how often they have to travel, what they are doing and everything, and that's why I wanted to really do interviews. So my goal was of course to inform people here in the International School of Bydgoszcz about the NATO and the things which I said before. And of course I wanted to be enjoyable to read, because if you have a magazine which is boring and it looks already boring, then you don't want to read it. So I wanted to really attract people with it. And my research, of course I used the NATO website and the NATO handbook. It's from my father. It's from, actually it was years ago it was published, so it's not that new anymore. But of course I used from this handbook just like historical informations, because it will never change. Okay, and of course the GFTC website for the GFTC information, and the ISOB website for the International School of Bydgoszcz information. Okay, thank you. So now in the end, it was, I have to say, it was a lot of work. In the beginning I didn't thought so, because I was like, let's choose something easy, what will be easy to make and everything. But now it was really hard to find information, to find the right pictures, to design it that it looks kind of like a magazine. And it was a lot of work. So I think I tried my best, and I did, for me, things which were possible. Because, of course, I'm just a student. I'm not an expert in doing a magazine, or I'm not a journalist. I don't know how to write good articles and everything. So I tried my best, and I hope it worked and it will enjoy people. Yeah. It also was difficult to use the computer to make the designs, because, well, in technology I'm not really good, I have to say. And when I made my magazine at first, I'm the person who does everything alone. I'm not asking people for help, because I never did it. I don't know why, but I never did it. So I gave the first draft to Miss Albertina. She was like, oh, it's great. But then she was like coming with changes, like, you should change this, and let's do the design again, because it doesn't really look like a magazine. And I was like, oh no. And I was going, then I was changing it, of course, and I went to my father and I asked him, how can I do that? Because, of course, I'm not really happy to ask him, because he's like explaining a lot, and then after this you're like, okay, from the beginning again, and it will take a lot of time, you know. But I'm happy that I asked, because otherwise I wouldn't have it like this. I can maybe show it around.
Of course.
And yes, that was also problematic. And so my area of interaction helped me, because community and service, it was important for me to know that I'm not doing it for myself, because if I would have thought I will do it's just for myself, then of course you are like, okay, I will do it someone, and you are not taking it serious, because you're not putting important things, you're like, oh, that's enough for me. But because it was for the school and for those people here, for the teachers and everything. I tried my best and it was really important for me. So community and service was actually the most important area of interaction for me. And approaches to learning, of course, it was really important because I always thought when I was writing those things in my magazine, those articles, okay, how can I write it in the best way? How can I present it that it's easy to understand, but also like that it will help people? So it was really, I had to think a lot about approaches to learning, so I was happy that, okay, I wasn't really happy that I had this area of interaction because it was a lot of work, but I had it and it helped me, I have to say.
The theme of my personal project, that I had to choose a topic at the beginning of the year, and it was to create a blog, a fashion blog, in which I would put just everything that I like, show people, just fashion, and yes. It's something I've always been interested in, so I was thinking it's a good occasion to just make something about it this year and just work on it for a year. At the beginning of the year I was supposed to make a magazine, but like a real magazine, print it and just make something like this, but it turned out that it was really hard to do it. And first we started like making it, but then we saw that it has to be printed and everything, and we thought about making a blog. I had to create many things, and just I could put on it what I liked, like my favorite models, even quotes, and just also like a lookbook. There's a lookbook inside. I will show it at the end. It's just with clothes that I like. I just post it, and I can just, you know, show it to others, and I think it's just a good idea. I had some obstacles. It was to find interview. At the beginning, we didn't know who to take. We looked at a website which is called Showroom, and we had to interview one girl who is creating clothes. It's called Anoi, and we couldn't. We had some problems about it, and it got into a problem because I needed an interview. So with my coordinator, we looked for something else, and we found finally an interview. So it's good. I also didn't know anything about how to create a blog or internet page or even how to use it, and so this was really helpful. This website, which is something with already designed blogs. I just had to insert my picture, my video that I like, some text, and yeah, so it was really good. I can show you how it looks like. So here's just some things that I like. I have a video of one of my favorite. I don't know if I should put music. I also put my 1-minute video that we created at the beginning of the year. Each of us did it.
describe us. It's our style, what we are wearing, and it expresses ourselves. Subcultures. We can meet many subcultures in our cities, school, everywhere. And subcultures are like our subcultures. I know what express us. Okay, areas of interaction which I used to do my project. Approaches to learning. I wanted to learn people about fashion, how they should wear, what they should wear, and generally about style. It should be my human ingenuity, but I don't know. Somewhere under my area was human ingenuity, because my project is about humans, about their lifestyles and what express there. My final product is black, about fashion, and what we can see in fashion. Yeah, my goal was to teach people how they should look like, what they should wear, and generally about fashion icons, about music, because music is very important in our style. Sorry. Yes, and I put on this blog so many gifs and photos which are express fashion and everything. It's, for example, Lady Gaga in Vogue. It's interesting, kind of, and this is my favorite Chanel commercial. It's a model. Of course, I took this picture from someone's blog, but it's like source everywhere and everything. Okay. Triangles. Triangles describe hipsters. Hipsters like triangles. I don't know why, but they do. And hipsters often are using to put in picture a triangle on, or make they are using picture and then they are putting some lyrics in Helvetica, and for example, life is hard. Yeah, and this describes them. I'm kind of a hipster. I love putting pictures on my Instagram or short movies on Cinemagram. And I'm wearing different clothes of styles, and I cannot tag myself in one subculture. Okay, maybe it's not a good word, but it's like we don't care about style. We should wear what we like, and it should fit to themselves. Yeah, and there are my pictures from Warsaw, street fashion. It was in April. Yeah, and another one style of people is called szafiarki or drubbers. They are girls which are having gloves, and they are famous now because they were showing on this gloves their pictures in clothes and everything. And this is their work. Their work is like some designers are giving them their clothes, and they are wearing it, and they can take it.
I'm going to show you now my project, which is a video. It's almost 10 minutes, 9.5, and it's about how I spend the day at this table. I'm going to explain you why I chose this topic. It's because I have to make a project, and I like horses a lot and horse riding, so I decided to make a video about it. And the title was How I Spend the Day at this table. My goal is to show how I spend the day. And my areas of interaction are health and social education and approaches to learning. Health and social education is connected with it because horse riding is a very healthy sport and it's for everyone, all ages. And approaches to learning, I chose it because every time I go horse riding, I learn a new skill. My research was variable because at this table where I ride, I asked for a horse if I can borrow it for one day. Sources which were helpful for me was internet and YouTube, because I found first time this how to groom a horse here, and then I decided to make that kind of video, and then the plan changed. I was engaged in my personal project because I like this topic a lot, what horses, and the obstacles which I overcame were the editing of the video. It took a long time and I had a lot of troubles with it. Even you could see it in the video that some pixels were jumping and I could not fix it, unfortunately. The report, I was writing it for a long time, and today when I wanted to print it again, it was like some parts were just deleted, so I had to write some parts again, and it was also kind of trouble for me. I learned about myself that I need more organization, because I kind of lately started to do my project and report, and I should have started earlier.
The obvious choice for me would be a video game, because I have always liked video games. I have played them since probably when I was like 5, 6. And well, because I use computers, a computer game. I should start with the question. When you're creating a video game, you have to think about many things. You have to think about what kind of a video game you're gonna make. Well, I didn't think too deeply about what kind of a video game I'm gonna make, so that was one of the biggest weaknesses while making this project. I didn't plan it enough. So I went in with the idea that, yeah, I'm just gonna create a video game. I started making a video game, and well, even if you make something which works, in theory is a video game, because video games are something which have many definitions. It can be something from a simple side scroller to an open world RPG, and that means that you can make many types of video games. It can take a lot of time, a lot of effort, but you should still have some kind of central plan, which I really did not. So I was considering two engines. I was considering the Unity engine and Unreal Development Kit, which is a free version of the Unreal 3 engine, which is a really popular commercial engine. In the end, I went with Unity because Unity has been out longer for the public, and thanks to that it has more resources about it, and you can find info about it more easy than with the Unreal engine. But thanks to using Unity engine, I could use their forums, which are really helpful, as sometimes you might have questions about what kind of code you need. For music, I asked Nova Sedisco, that's also a game developer. He makes video games commercially now, but he makes music as a hobby. I asked him over email if I could use one of his extended plays, which included 3 songs, and those are the soundtrack of my game. As you can see, it's powered by Unity engine. And that is the soundtrack by Nova Sedisco, or Triassic as his artist name goes. It is quite a simple game. It doesn't include too many mechanics, but it has basic mechanics like you can jump, you can walk, you can look around using the mouse. And, well, most modern games include that. It would be absurd to make a 3D game where you can't move around and jump. So it's based around the idea of you have to complete obstacles. And the idea for making an obstacle course came from Roblox. The first game where I had any contact with code. Without Roblox, I would probably not know any code, and I would have chosen another project. Roblox is a simple game where anyone can write their own code and make their own games. And as I did with Roblox, I chose to make an obstacle course, like as was the first game I made in Roblox. Another great source was a book what Mr. Philip gave to me called Game Coding, it complete 2nd edition by who I have checked.
Michael Traffic.
Yeah, thank you. And although it didn't really have like all the information I needed because it was about another language, I was writing my game in JavaScript, which reminds me that the Unity engine supports 3 game languages, or programming languages, right? There's support for C#, JavaScript, the one I chose, and Foo, which I was considering choosing Foo at first because Foo is quite similar to Python, but it doesn't have as many resources and as much information about it as JavaScript, for example.
Today I'm going to present to you my personal project about history or development of the cinema. So obviously, the first machine of the cinema was a camera obscuring an optional instrument for obtaining a flat projections of an image outside the area within this area. It was one of the ancient devices that lead of the development of photography. The current photography apparatus inherited from the old word cameras. Somebody got the funeral camera in the 18th century. Originated century was developed through whose only light source was a small hole in the one of the wall through which light rays and turning or touching objects outside one of the walls.
The first film, films really ranged in 1920s, expanding upon the foundation of the film from earlier years. Most U.S. films productions at the start of the decade appeared in the near Hollywood on the West Coast, although some films were still being made in New Jersey and in Austria on Long Island Paramount. Here I have a few pictures of the first film, which was Nana of the North, obviously. Here I've got the picture of the inventor of this film, and here I have got the cover of it, and here's some photo from the movie. Okay, the major film studio was the Big Five Warner Bros. In the top right corner, I've got the logo of the Warner Bros. And here I've got the picture of the Warner Bros. Brothers. So, pictures implemented in 1923 by Polish brothers Jack, Harry, Albert, and Sam in 1925. Warner Brothers married Paris National, forming Warner Bros. First National Pictures, the studio's first principal assistant was Frank, and became permanent by 1923 to its introduction of the Just Single singer in 1926 and early 30s gangster films. It was known as the quote Depression Studios in the 40s. It's in Bugs Bunny animation and other cartoons. What's the voice? Here I have some movie stars from the past, like Marilyn Monroe. So here I've got the image of her, and Marilyn Monroe. She was born in Los Angeles, California, US in June 3rd, and in 1936, I did August in 1962. So she was born in Norma Jane Morrison, and that's as Norma Jane Baker. Was a model and actress of the American film. Over time became one of the most famous Hollywood actresses and one of the leading sex symbols of all the time. She began her
about hip-hop dance, and the area of interaction is human ingenuity, because I want to show others how it could affect people's lives, and it's important also, not only for mine but also for other people. And my goal in the very beginning in September was to do a choreography with my dance teacher, but she was very busy, and we also had a lot of preparing for different contests, which Ms. Vegas and the leaders were attending, and we worked really hard on it, so we didn't have time to do the choreography, but I'm still happy with the outcome. So I decided my goal would be like to inspire others and to make others interested into dance and what hip-hop really is about, because a lot of people mistaken it by stereotypes or what other people are talking about. And I mean, basically I picked this topic because it's my hobby and I love it, so I thought it would be easy for me to do it. And the people who were helping me were basically my teachers from Fabrika, Kainsa, and I would have interviews with them, I would record them dancing, and I would take photos with them, and they would tell me the whole history about hip-hop dance. They would tell me about the different styles, how they look like. I would record them so I could show you an example of how it looks like. And
well, in general, we really deeply talked about the history. They taught me a lot, and they make a lot of lessons on weekends, which I was also attending, and they taught me a lot about dance. That it's not just about moving, that it's also like it's a piece of art, and that it could change people's lives. So I have a video about the whole history of it and who created what style of dance, at what time, where, and what's it called, how does it look like. I saw her videos and pictures, so I hope you enjoy it. Chocolate for one.